Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of No Huddle Rodeo as we get closer and closer to the National Finals Rodeo. Today, we are breaking down the tie-down roping. We are presented, as always, by Justin Boots and Runyon's Fine Furniture. And we're going to start where we always do by running through the field. But before we do that, just going to set the stage for this preview. And a lot of events, it's a lot of different guys, a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different things that could happen. To me, in the tie-down roping this year, it really is about Riley Webb versus Shad Mayfield once again. So that is what we will be predominantly diving into. That being said, let's meet our top 15. At number 1 is one of the guys we just mentioned, Riley Webb, two-time and reigning world champion. Shad Mayfield, number 2. Last year's all-around champion, 2020 tie-down roping champion. Kincaid Henry, best regular season of his career. He's number 3. John Douch, he's always fast. He's back at the NFR once again, number 4. Dylan Hancock had a great debut in Las Vegas in 2024. He is back at number 5. Riley Pruitt, the Nebraskan, rejoins the NFR mix for the first time since 2019. Marty Yates, a gunslinger who's always known to win go-rounds in Vegas. He is number 7. Tom Kraus, a first-timer, number 8. Bruston Minton, number 9. Joel Harris, he won 2 rounds in his debut last year. He's number 10. Zach Youngblood, a terrific all-around cowboy. He returns to the National Finals Rodeo at number 11. Ty Harris, 7-time qualifier, is number 12. Haven Meged, despite injury, also a 7-time NFR qualifier. He comes in at number 13. The Canadian champion, Kyle Lucas, is number 14. And at number 15, 16 in a row, the most veteran in the field, it is Shane Hanchey. Now, we're going to go right back up to the top. Because like I said, it's Riley Webb with $305,000, Shad Mayfield with $256,000. They are number 1 and number 2, just like they were last year entering the NFR, except it was Shad number 1, Riley number 2. Shad was number 1 entering the NFR in 2022, Riley in 2023. So to back it all the way up, Shad Mayfield breaks the earnings record, regular season earnings record in 2022. Riley Webb breaks it in 2023. Shad Mayfield breaks it again in 2024, but Riley wins his second straight world title. And then this past season, $305,132. Riley Webb is your new regular season earnings record holder in the tie-down roping. And I want to take you back to what happened last year because it's very similar, just in different positions. Shad and Riley are just flipped here. Remember a year ago, Riley Webb was actually 4th entering the National Finals Rodeo. Shad Mayfield was 1st. Riley trailed by about $70,000. He went on to win 3 of the first 4 rounds. By round 3, he had taken a lead of about $7,000. By round 4, he took a lead of about $40,000. And he never looked back. After he took that lead in round 3, he did not trail for the rest of the National Finals Rodeo. And so now Riley is back in the position that he was in 2023, where he is playing with the lead this time. He is the hunted, not the hunter. And you could tell last year, he liked being the hunter. He liked having to come from behind. He liked having to go for it early and make a statement. And I think Riley's a pretty reserved guy, but he's kind of this last couple of years at the NFR, especially last year, just kind of had that wry smile that he knows the situation. He knows what he did last year. He knows that he had an unbelievable start and kind of left the rest of the field, maybe Shad Mayfield included, shell-shocked. And he went on to win his second world title and win $475,000, to break his own single season earnings record. And so this year, that's probably what it's going to take again to win the gold buckle, with him being at $305,000, Shad at $256,000. It's going to take $450 minimum, probably $475, maybe close to $500,000 to win the world title in the tie-down roping. Something else I want to remind everyone of last year is, yes, Riley got the better of Shad, but Shad had by far the best NFR of his career. And he talked about recently in a Pro Rodeo Films production how he used to really let the first couple rounds get him down if he struggled or if things didn't go his way. but he showed a lot of resilience last year at the National Finals Rodeo. And he finished fourth in the average, and he won over $111,000. And I think he proved a lot to a lot of people, but also himself by finishing and winning that all-around world title and knowing he had to be in the top 4 in round 10 to get that all-around title, to make a clutch run, even when he was out of the tie-down roping, to mentally come back and make that clutch run in round 10, I think really says a lot about Shad Mayfield. And remember, too, Shad Mayfield finished fourth in the average at the 2024 NFR, but he was second in the average after round 8. And he only trailed Riley by about 45,000 in the projected world standings. So in round 9, he really went for it and it didn't go his way. But he had to go for it because he was so close, because this race finished with Riley up $80,000, $90,000. But really going into the final 2 rounds, it was much closer. And if things would have gone a little bit differently in round 9, we'd have a completely different scenario in round 10, and maybe Shad Mayfield's your tie-down roping world champion. Or even go back to round 8, when Riley was 8-7 and Shad was 8-9, and Riley got paid in the last hole. That could have been a $12,000 swing right there. And then Shad's only about $30,000 back in the projected world standings. If they're 1/10 difference, if Riley's 8-8 and Shad's 8-8, it's a completely different ballgame where maybe Shad doesn't have to go for it as much in round 9. The strategy changes. And again, maybe things are different. So you've got Kincaid sitting there at number 3. You've got John Douch, who can be in the 6s in this building, who has done it multiple times. He's been 6-6 at the Thomas and Mack before. You have Dylan Hancock at number 5, who's been really, really good the last 2 years. Won 2 rounds in his NFR debut. Again, finished number 5 in the world. But they're just, Kincaid's 114,000 behind Riley. John Douch is about 120,000, 130,000 behind Riley. Dylan Hancock's about there too. So in order for one of those guys ranked even 3 through 5 to have a chance to take down Riley Webb, they'd have to get to, let's say, $400,000. So they would have to win $225,000 and hope that Riley Webb, who's been automatic in the Thomas and Mack, won the average last year, won 3 rounds each of the last 2 years. They would be hoping that Riley Webb finishes with less than $100,000. And again, one of those guys would have to win well over $200,000 in addition to that happening to Riley to have any chance. Which is why I think Shad Mayfield, the guy who's got more 7.5 second or faster runs than anybody in the PRCA over the last 4 years, and it's not even close, and he's only $50,000 behind, and he's coming off his best NFR of his career, he's really the only contender to Riley Webb to me. That being said, I think the tie-down roping's still going to be really exciting, and I say that for a number of reasons. The first, I have it headlined in my notes right here. How fast will we go? Because in 2023 and 2024, the average round winning time was 7.1 seconds. 7.1. So seemingly gone are the days where even 7.4 probably wins the round. 7.5, 7.6. Those used to be pretty good times. If you started around and you were 7.6 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you'd feel pretty good about your chances of finishing at least top 2, but definitely winning the round. Like I said, those days are over. In 2024, the average round winning time, 7.19 seconds. In 2023, 7.01 seconds. And of course, we've seen Haven Meged make that 6.4. We've seen Shad Mayfield have a 6.1 that didn't count. We've seen Shad Mayfield have a 6.5 recently that did count. John Douch with a 6.6. Dylan Hancock, 2 6.7s last year. So it's going to be fast. And you need to be, again, right around 7 flat, 7.1, to feel like you are in good shape to win the round. And even then, you won't win the round about 40% of the time if this trend continues, because 8 of the last 20 go-round winners in the tie-down roping at the National Finals Rodeo have been in the 6s. So we'll see. Will we see 7 rounds this year in the sixes, where your round winners 6-9 or faster. I don't know, but there is definitely a chance of that happening, and a good chance, because these guys are so good now. They are so good in the tie down roping. It is always so much fun to watch. The next thing I have my eye on, how much will the bottom, and I have bottom in quotes there, of the top 15 rise? Because in that bottom, you got Ty Harris at number 12, Haven Meged at number 13, Shane Hanchey at number 17. Those guys have been to 7 NFRs for Ty Harris, 7 NFRs for Haven Meged, 16 NFRs for Shane Hanchey. And I'm betting that all of those guys win a round at some point, and all of those guys move up into the top 10, maybe the top 5. So I wouldn't be shocked if it goes at the end of this thing, hypothetically, Riley Webb, Shad Mayfield, John Douch, Haven Meged up 9 or 10 spots. Ty Harris going from 12 to number 5. Shane Hanchey from 15 to 3. I think that's something that'll be really interesting. I think one of those guys may make the biggest jump of anyone in any event. And then lastly, a couple of second timers at the National Finals Rodeo that I really have my eye on. Joel Harris and Dylan Hancock, a pair of San Angelo kids who just took the NFR by storm last year. In their debuts, they both won 2 rounds. Dylan Hancock did it with 2 6.7 second runs in round 7 and round 10. He went on to finish number 6 in the world. Joel Harris was right behind him. He went on to finish number 7 in the world. And both of those guys, not to say that I didn't expect them to do much, but you don't expect first-timers, a pair of first-timers, to win 40% of the rounds at the NFR. And you certainly don't expect it to be guys who finished the year number 9 in the regular season in Dylan Hancock's case and number 13 in Joel Harris's case. So they were super duper impressive. And I think based on what those two guys did at the National Finals Rodeo last year, where they ultimately finished in the world standings, both in the top 10, and then to back it up again this year with Dylan Hancock entering at number 5 and Joel Harris also entering in the top 10 right at number 10, they will cement themselves, I think, in that tier where if it's, let's say Riley-Shad and Haven as that top tier, and then Ty Harris, John Douch, Kincaid, Henry, in terms of the younger guys in there as the next tier, I think Dylan Hancock and Joel Harris instantly get into that John Douch, Kincaid, Henry, Ty Harris type territory in terms of what we think about them as tie-down ropers. But you just look up and down this tie-down roping field. Again, Riley and Shad at the top have opened up pretty big leads, but these guys are so good. The times have gotten so much better. The average times have gotten so much better. Riley Webb was 79.7 on 10 last year to win the average. 7.9 seconds per run. Haven Meged was 77.1 on 10 in 2023. He averaged a 7.7 at the 2023 NFR. And in 2015, that would have won you half the rounds. So it's just a completely different ball game with how these guys have elevated tie-down roping and kind of, I don't know if brought it back to a golden era would be the right way to put it, because there's been so many great eras in the tie-down roping and so many awesome guys to watch. But I think we're living in a really, really good time with a lot of really, really good tie-down ropers. And especially this year, if Shad can track down Riley like Riley did to him last year, then that rivalry is really, really on for the next decade. And I would love to see that rivalry be on for the next decade. So that is your tie-down roping preview. Again, a little bit different, really focusing on just the top of that world title race, but I do find what that rivalry could become and what it already is very, very fascinating. So stay tuned for the rest of our coverage. Again, we get closer and closer every day. Go to the US Cowboy YouTube channel. Check out our NFR previews. We've got fantasy rodeo picks for every event by the time the NFR starts. We've got no huddle rodeo previews for every event by the time the NFR starts. And we've got Inside Rodeo giving you a couple deeper looks at some things before the NFR starts. So stay with us all the way until December 4th. Tell your friends, subscribe, comment, help us grow this show if you find the information valuable. So thank you for watching, and thank you to Justin Boots and Runyon's Fine Furniture. And thank you in advance for spreading the word. We continue to barrel closer to Las Vegas. This has been your No Huddle Rodeo NFR tie-down roping preview.